Hey everyone, it's Wade Franson, and I am back with another sneak peek of episode 160 this time, airing on July 22nd, Created in the Image of God, Building Vibrant Communities. I'm here with John M. of Sober Speak, talking about a topic of incredible importance, one that has touched me deeply throughout my life, having had an alcoholic mother and siblings who struggled with alcohol. And recently, as some of my listeners and readers of my Substack know, a sister who struggled all her life with addictions and tragically, ironically, had her life taken just about a month and a half ago by a drunk driver. So I'm really honored that John is here in the studio with us today to speak anonymously, but you'll hear his voice. You just won't see him about this topic. Welcome to the studio, John.
Thanks for having me, Wade. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm really interested in sharing this with the audience from a number of perspectives. The first is, the tie-in with religion and your work is actually very strong. We prayed right before this because that is a habit that you have. And the steps that you would recommend, the traditional steps of the Al-Anon project, always include a higher power. Tell us just briefly about how that higher power plays into helping people have hope and overcome their addictions.
Oh, I just got chills going up and down my spine as you asked that. Just let me say, when I came into the program of Alcoholics Anonymous many years ago now, I've been blessed to be sober a day at a time for quite some time, since 1989. And I had very little to do with God. I was agnostic at best. I didn't even do foxhole prayers or anything like that. But as I sat around the table and listened to people share their experience, strength, and hope about the God of their understanding, all of a sudden things started to resonate me, and I started to live my life in a different way, and I started to practice in a different practice living, I guess is what you would call it, in a different way, and I was able to grasp onto and get hold of this thing that is a higher power in my life. Now, that higher power has taken many shapes and forms as I have continued in sobriety. And I always say that I pray to God that I hope my conception of God and what I believe about Him is not the same thing now that it is going to be in 5 years from now. And so, short story answer to your question is that this God of my understanding and the God of and the God that I see working in the rooms in Alcoholics Anonymous is very real, and it is something that I watch lives change on a daily basis. I'm so thankful that I get to be on the front lines of watching lives change on a consistent basis.
Well, that's awesome. Seeing the mighty hand of God at work in the life of an individual. It's easier to move a mountain than to really change the heart of somebody. I'm reminded of one of my favorite jokes. How many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but the light bulb really has to want to change.
Right.
So the follow-up question to conclude this brief sneak peek is, I was just at a meeting, a religious spiritual meeting last night, in fact, and somebody mentioned something called, I think it was a book called Depths of Despair. And I first I thought he said depths of despair, depths, but no, this was Deaths of Despair, talking about young men who are increasingly committing suicide. And I mentioned my sister, right? So how does one instill that hope when people are at that rock bottom level?
Yeah, so I could tell you from an Alcoholics Anonymous perspective, which I've been a member of, like I said, for many years, it's not really trying to instill hope in somebody else. It is really about sharing our own experience, strength, and hope, and how we got out from the depths of despair. And either people take on to that or they do not. I had somebody call me yesterday. It was a mom and her sister, and they were asking me, what do I do for my son who is in jail right now, and his father's about to pass away, and we can't seem to get them on the straight and narrow. And what I said to them is, real simply is like, I don't know what you can do. What I would advise though is you take care of yourself, right? You get into Al-Anon, or you get into some sort of therapy, or you do whatever you have to do for you, and let him, the gentleman, find his own bottom. And either he'll find it or he won't. By God's grace, I don't know why, he reached down and picked me up by the scruff of the neck, sat me in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I've had a life beyond my wildest dreams. But I know that doesn't happen for everybody, and I feel for them. But all I can say is, you just take one step at a time. Share your own spirit, share your own experience, strength, and hope, and continue to carry light that comes from within you, and hope that people latch on to that.
Well, thank you, John, and thank you for being in the studio for this sneak peek. I can promise the audience that, as always, this will be a raw and real discussion, one that there will be many nuggets of, I believe, divine inspiration that will arise from it, that will be of hope and encouragement to everybody that listens in. So you don't want to miss it. It's episode 160, and it will air at 8 p.m. Central Time on Created in the Image of God, as always. Until then, may God be with you.